Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome to a bonus episode of Let's Play Yoshi's Woolly World. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 3DS version of Poochy in Yoshi's Woolly World. Poochy gets an extra little subtitle here in the 3DS version because he plays a much bigger role in this version of the game. So let's go ahead and jump straight on into things here, and you'll notice here as soon as we go into our file, we have a new mode underneath Start Game, Yoshi Theater. Simply put, the Yoshi Theater is a collection of small little stories between the knitted Yoshis and Poochy. There are a total of 31 of these little short stories in the game, and in order to unlock every single one of these little cutscenes, you actually need to boot up Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World on your 3DS every single day up to 31 days. These unlock in a 24-hour period, so you can't just keep on booting into the game and get all of these, but you can go ahead and change your system clock on your 3DS and bump it up a full day in order to unlock these quick. That's what I did, and I recommend anyone else to do so because booting up this game for a month straight just to unlock all these cutscenes, it's pretty tedious. I really like watching these little shorts that they put in the game. It's a nice little extra that they didn't really need to do, but Goodfield definitely decided to go through all the painstaking effort of making stop motion little videos to put into the 3DS version. So you definitely gotta appreciate that effort. We're not gonna be watching all of the Yoshi Theater short stories here in this video simply because there are way too many of these stories to look at. So if you want to see all these for yourself, I definitely recommend either booting up your copy of Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World and watching the cutscenes in there, or go ahead and look up a YouTube video of all of the Yoshi Theater cutscenes. They're pretty good. But at the end of every little story, you'll get a Q&A section here. So what was in the room? Well, that's simple. A globe. If you answer correctly, you get a bonus of 500 beads. This is an easy way for you to grind up beads in Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World. Simply just watch one of these little short stories, get the question right, and you get a lot of beads. But now that we covered the Yoshi Theater, let's go ahead and load up a file here and jump back into Craft Island. So here on Craft Island, as you can see, things look pretty different here compared to the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World. For starters, we don't have a 3D space to explore, this is all 2D plane. And everything is laid out here on both the screens. The top screen really just displays Yoshi and the overworld. In the bottom screen, you can go ahead and touch on the many different things in order to jump around. What's nice about this version of the game is if I can tap the 1 here, for example, to go to World 1, and then I can go ahead and tap on whatever level I want, say 1-8, and jump straight to it. This is much easier compared to the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World, as you can only jump to specific worlds of the game and not to specific levels. But there are a lot of different things we can go ahead and do here in the 3DS version of Yoshi's Woolly World that is slightly different compared to the Wii U version. And first things first, I want to actually go ahead and beat a stage here. So let's run through 1-1 real quick and complete the stage. So we made it to the end of the stage here, and as you've seen, I got myself the flower at the end of the gold tape. In the Wii U version, this would mean we would get a bonus game, but here in the 3DS version, we get something called the Poochy Dash Gold Rush. So bonus games entirely in the 3DS version were removed, and instead they're replaced with a brand new mode to the game, Poochy Dash. So this is the big role that Poochy has to play here in the 3DS version of Yoshi's Woolly World. You can go ahead and either go back here to the main hub world of Craft Island and then head over to the Poochy hut, or when you're in a specific world, you'll see the little Poochy symbol down below on the bottom screen. And if you go ahead and tap that, then you'll be sent straight over to Poochy's hut. So here we are in Poochy's hut. As you can see, we got a couple different levels here we can go ahead and play. There are 6 levels in total here in Poochy's hut. There's one for each world of the game. These unlock after you beat the fortress level of each world. So after you beat the 4th level of each world respectively, then a new level unlocks here in Poochy's hut. Now, for the Gold Rush, in order to activate it, you must tap on the little gold cloud here on the bottom right-hand corner of the touchscreen, and if you do so, the Gold Rush mode will be activated. So, you can go ahead and use Gold Rush in any of the levels you unlocked at this point. And since on this file we have all of them unlocked, let's just go ahead and play the first level here, the Goblin Green Meadow. So, to explain what this Poochy Dash mode is, this is basically an endless runner here. The main goal here is just to collect as many gems as possible, and when you're in Gold Rush mode, you'll have this golden Lakitu that's just flying around the level, and what you need to do is chase after him to get the most beads. So, this is a fantastic mode for grinding beads. It's very easy to just lose track of Lakitu once in a while in this mode, especially with the small screen of the 3DS. This game honestly is much easier to play if you're playing this on a new 3DS system in particular, because Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World actually has a frame rate difference depending on what version of a 3DS you're playing. If you're playing an older 3DS model, then this game will run in 30 frames per second, but if you play this on a new 3DS model, it will run in 60. I'm capturing this from a standard 3DS model, so this is an older 3DS system and can only play the game in 30 frames per second. So that means this is a little bit harder for me because I'm actually used to playing Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World on a new 3DS, and I'm also used to playing the Wii U version. Both run at 60 frames per second. But on an older 3DS model, standard 3DS, standard 3DS XL, and a 2DS, they will all play this game in 30 frames per second. As you see on the mission side here below on the touchscreen, we got a couple of different things, but this final level here doesn't have anything. So let's go ahead and jump into Fort Bombs Away and go ahead and complete the level. In order to unlock the missions for these levels, you actually need to beat the level for the first time. So while we're running through this level here, we're going to have 3 Poochy Pups we're going to be on the lookout for. We want to collect all 3 Poochy Pups to fully complete the level. So that's what we're going to be doing. And be very, very careful in this level because as you see, there is lava. If Poochy goes into the lava, he won't die instantly. Instead, what's going to happen is you're just going to be losing a bunch of gems. You can get knockback in this mode depending on what you hit, but some things Poochy will just go through and he won't really care, but you will lose gems for it, so be very careful about that. Now we got all of our Poochy Pups, so now we're just basically trying to survive this ending gauntlet, and we made it to the end, so just jump through the little goal at the end and do a little dance with our pups. Yeah, I love how cute these little Poochy Pups are. They're so cute. I would love to have these little things as amiibo. We got a Poochy amiibo, but not Poochy Pup amiibos. Come on, Nintendo. Get on that. So, after we clear a course, missions will be added, and you can go ahead and run through the level again in order to complete these said missions. Now, you don't have to complete them all in a row, but you do need to complete them in a run. So, if you don't complete a mission, you can go ahead and retry the level, and just keep on trying as many times as you like. Now, the game also says, see what happens when you load the Poochy amiibo. We'll be taking a look at that in just a moment, but for now, let's jump back into Fort Bombs Away and complete those 3 missions. So while we're running back through this level again, I want to go ahead and mention something. If you see any kind of weird frame skipping or hear any audio stuttering in this footage, well, that's simply because I had to record all this footage using a 3DS emulator. I don't have access to a 3DS capture card, and nowadays 3DS capture units are very hard to track down and are very expensive because of that. So I have to rely on 3DS emulation in order to capture 3DS games. Luckily for me, I don't really need to capture many 3DS games on this channel, but once in a while, we do need to look at something on the 3DS, and luckily Citrus here that saved the day, even if it isn't perfect. 3DS emulation has come a long way, but it still isn't perfect by any means necessary. It still has a lot of weird quirks. But luckily, I was still able to work through some of those weird quirks, because sometimes a frame skip in this emulator makes trying to jump a real pain. But we cleared all 3 missions, and when you collect a certain amount of beads, then you can get a platinum medal here. There are 4 different rankings: bronze, silver, gold, and then platinum. And obviously, if you clear the mission for the 1500 beads, then you're going to get platinum. So, that was that. we have cleared all the missions in that level, and on this file, we cleared every single mission in every level here in the Poochy Dash mode. And doing so, now we can choose a new Poochy design. But more importantly at this point, we can go ahead and use the amiibo now in this game. So, if you bought Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World brand new physically on the 3DS, the game came with a Poochy amiibo. And on the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World, the Poochy amiibo can be used to get a free Poochy badge. But in the 3DS version, it has a much bigger role. So, if we go ahead and scan in our Poochy amiibo here to the 3DS version of Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World, we'll get a new unlockable here. So I just scanned in my Poochy amiibo onto the 3DS version of Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World, and now we unlocked Time Attack mode. So now every single level has a new mission. We must beat it under a certain time limit now, and that will give us the gold star here. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's go ahead and run through every single one of these levels and complete this new mission. So it's time for us to go fast, and really by going fast, that's pretty much just going to mean don't screw up. That's the big thing. It doesn't really matter what route you take in certain levels, but in others, the route you take could make or break this time trial. We're not going to be going for the other missions here. You can read it on the bottom screen. You can see, oh, this is what I need to do. And a lot of them are kind of self-explanatory. Collecting 1,500 beads actually is an easier mission to do if you do the Gold Rush mode in order to learn where the best trails are to get the most beads in this game. So I recommend doing the Gold Rush mode in order to figure out the bead reward. Pop 3 balloons, you more or less just have to play the levels and just try to figure it out. And then passing under the stump is the special one here in this level. Each level has a special mission for you to go ahead and clear, and it's going to be different per level. So more or less just pay attention to the surroundings and then figure out what you need to do in general. But after you clear the Time Attack mode here, you'll unlock yourself a new Poochy skin. So we're going to be taking a look at that Poochy skin after we go ahead and clear out all these time trials. We did unlock a Poochy skin for completing all the missions as well. So once again, we'll be taking a look at that once we complete the time trials. That way we can just take a look at all the Poochies at once. So again, we're not going to be going out of our way to clear all these missions. I'm just going to basically just play these levels as fast as I can. And if we happen to get the missions as well, then that's pretty neat. But again, I'm not going to be trying for it. So some areas are going to just see me bypassing things in general because it is somewhat faster to do. So that little Poochy back there, unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave him behind because it is actually quicker for me to leave him behind, take the top path, than to go down below. So here I'm just going to basically go up top because, again, this will be slightly faster. I miss out on Poochy, which means I won't be able to get those beads at the end. You definitely want to have as many Poochy Pups with you as possible if you're trying to go for the 1,500 bead mission, because the more Poochy Pups you have, the easier that mission becomes. Every Poochy Pup you bring back at the end will give you 50 beads to your total score. So you definitely want those. I unfortunately missed that score by 4 beads, but as you've seen, if I just went on my way for one of the Poochy Pups, I would have got it. But more importantly, I got the time trial, which is really all that matters right now. Now time to go on to the next level, the Sticky Scramble. This level here is pretty fun. You're bouncing all over the place in this one. It's probably one of my favorite Poochy levels in the game. I don't know if I would say this is my favorite or the one coming up next, because I like the one coming up next a lot as well. These levels are pretty fun. It is honestly a pretty good substitute compared to just the bonus games you get in the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World. It's kind of weird to see those gone in this version because they were pretty good at grinding beads, but then this mode just basically made beads a non-issue in Yoshi's Woolly World because you can have so many beads just for doing one run through of one of these levels. Way more beads that you can get from any bonus game in the Wii U version of the game. So it is a pretty big difference, and in all honesty, the Poochy mode here kind of breaks the game a little bit because of that. So I honestly would recommend, if you don't want to abuse the fact that you can just basically use this mode to grab a crap ton of beads, then I would just stay away from this. Just maybe use it when necessary, but don't go back to this every time you get a unlockable gold rush mode for the game. Because again, beads are extremely easy to come by here in this mode because of that gold rush. And in a way, I feel it kind of breaks the game a bit because you're basically able to use whatever badge you want. You'll never have to worry about running out of beads in order to buy badges. But now we're on to the World 4 level here, and this one's a lot of fun because I just like the water and bouncing on these bubbles. It's a lot of fun to play through, and it's really fast-paced too. So that's why I really like this one. It's just really fun to keep on replaying, in my opinion. But here, we're just going to basically be careful. If you want to pop these balloons, then what you actually need to do is, what is going on with Poochy? I'm stuck! I'm even holding down, he won't go down. I'm just going to retry. I don't know what happened there. The level just kind of broke. That is a first. I never had that happen before. Luckily, I could just easily pause, hit retry, and then forget that ever happened. So let's go ahead and do so. These bubbles act the same way as bouncing off an enemy, so if you're holding down the jump button, then you'll actually get more height. Oh, what's going on? Not again. Unfortunately, because of that, I do have to retry one more time because if I bonk at all here, I will lose speed, and it'll cost me a couple seconds. So at that point, I basically cannot get the time trial. Well, that was awkward. Don't know what happened there. Just got bounced sideways from that bubble. That was really weird. Sometimes I notice that you can get bounced off to the side if you jump on the bubble the wrong way. So if you say jump on the left side of the bubble, it could just shove you back over to the left. So be careful where you're jumping on these bubbles. I would say just jump right directly in the center, just to be safe. I don't even know what's going on in my gameplay right now. I apologize for just going all over the place. I don't know, it's maybe just because I'm trying to focus on the bouncing off of bubbles mission as well, even though I said I'm not going for the missions. I just like doing this one a lot, but I'm just getting memorized in the level. I guess I'm not very paying attention. I'm just kind of flinging all over the place. I just gotta be more cautious of what I'm doing here. There we go. I didn't hit the bubble, but that's not really that big of a deal, because I didn't, bonk and lose all my speed. That's a bigger deal. Seriously, if you bonk, just hit reset, because it will cost you too much time. You basically gotta play these levels perfectly, because as you notice, getting to the end here, the requirement for the time trial is 35 seconds. I finished in 34:46, and I made basically no mistakes. If you make even a slight mistake, that can cost you the time trial. So, because of that, the time trials are very, very strict, and you have to be really paying attention because of that. And if you make a single mistake, like I said, it's not worth playing through the level anymore. Just hit the reset button and try again. Oh, this stage, I am not a fan of this stage. This one's a lot of fun to play through, but when you're trying to go for the missions, this is by far the worst one. I already screwed up one of the missions where it's do not break the ice blocks. I pressed the B button, but the game didn't really read my input in time, and it did not recognize the jump. Again, I am used to playing this game on a new 3DS, which runs in 60 frames per second. And if I'm playing this on a standard 3DS model like I'm playing on now, it runs in 30. So that half frame rate difference is making a huge deal in this level, because my inputs are coming out at different times in terms of the game's code, so I'm just not used to the timing here. It's a little weird. And in 30 frames per second, I feel like the breaking the ice block mission here is the worst thing. It's just next to impossible on a 30 frames per second cap. I don't know why it's so much worse, but I have a much easier time playing this level on a new 3DS in 60 frames per second. It's probably because of some input delay differences. I don't know if the game does suffer from an input delay with the half frame rate, but it definitely feels like it. Well, let's go ahead and continue on to our last level, which means we're playing the World 6 stage one more time. This will be 3 times in total we're playing the stage. And that's, yeah, okay. A little tedious. I'm kind of sick of seeing the stage, not gonna lie. This stage is definitely the hardest one in the game, but at the same time, I don't want to keep on seeing it, so after this, I'll be glad that we'll be done with it. And after this, we'll be done with all the Poochy missions, because we'll have all of them cleared. Unfortunately there, I made a slight mistake, and I kind of fell through the bridge, so we're gonna have to just hit the retry button and just go from the beginning. Here, trying to get the balloons is kind of a pain. In fact, trying to get these missions in general here in this level is just a giant pain in general because you need to play this level pretty perfectly. As you've seen in my original run trying to get the missions here, I barely got enough gems in the end to actually get the 1500 beads. It's so strict here. I don't like this one. This one's really obnoxious. I mean, it makes sense. It's supposed to be the final world one, but jeez, it's so bad on the gem requirement. If you miss one tiny thing, you probably don't have enough beads. It's not fun in my opinion. But the time trial's not too bad. As long as you don't get hit by anything, then the time trial's actually kind of simple. But that was our final time trial. So, after that, we get a massive amount of lag. I don't know why, Citra doesn't like time attack clear screens, but we did it! Now we can choose for a new Poochy design in the Poochy Hut. So if we go ahead and tap on the little Poochy door down below here, we can go ahead and change our Poochy skin. Please ignore the weird graphical issues back here. I actually had to swap to a completely different build of Citra because for some reason, after I cleared those time trials, the game was running at a very unresponsive frame rate. So we're on a newer build and it's a little more glitchy, but it's fine because we can see our Poochy friends. We have our standard Poochy here, but we also got ourselves Buzzy Poochy for completing the time trial in the first level. We got ourselves Moo Moo Poochy for completing the time trial in level 2. We got ourselves the Rocking Horse Poochy from completing the time trial in level 3. Watermelon Poochy for completing the time trial in level 4. The Warm Poochy for completing the time trial in level 5. Burger Poochy for completing the time trial in level 6. And the Golden Poochy for clearing all the missions in the Poochy Dash mode. These are all the different Poochy skins you can unlock, and unfortunately, if you don't have the Poochy amiibo, you can't unlock the time trial mode, which means you can't get the other 6 Poochy skins I showed off, which is a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. But you can also save these skins to an amiibo. So if you have your Poochy amiibo, you can go ahead and scan one of these skins and you can load this data into a different game. So you can luckily just load these skins in as well. You don't really just need to go through all these missions to unlock it, but that is something I wanted to go ahead and mention. So back out here on Craft Island, let's go ahead and make our way over to the Yoshi Hut here, because this Yoshi Hut has something pretty significant we want to go ahead and take a look at here in the 3DS version. So for starters, we have a whole bunch of Yoshis we can go ahead and pick from our adventures here in the game. But I want to go ahead and show that we can go ahead and change the color of the unlockable Yoshis we get. So if we press the Y button, we can go ahead and cycle through a set of presets here. So we have 3 different colors to choose from in total, including a default one. And it's a nice little touch. The console Yoshis actually have a pretty big significance to this too, because these console Yoshis actually have different colors based on their different console releases. So if I go to the GameCube Yoshi in particular here, it's one of the more interesting ones. The default color is purple. If I go ahead and press the Y button, then I go to a gray GameCube here, and then I hit it one more time and go to the Spice Orange color here. So that is an exclusive GameCube release that was only in Japan. So we can choose that color Yoshi here in the 3DS version by just pressing the Y button. That does exist on the Wii U version as well, but it's a little bit more clunky to use in all honesty. We'll be showing it off when we look at the Wii U version in the next bonus episode. But if I go ahead and tap this pencil icon up here, we'll enter a new mode here to Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World. We can go ahead and create our own Yoshi. So I can go ahead and hit the X button here, and we have a choice of 2 different things, professional and easy mode. It really doesn't matter which one of these you pick in order to create your Yoshi. Professional mode has you color each individual part of Yoshi, while easy mode just basically has you coloring in the whole Yoshi at once, but we actually want to go ahead and select easy mode because this actually has a pretty big significance for us here in the 3DS version. So this here is the page for creating your own custom Yoshi here in Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World. So for starters, we can go ahead and just draw on a Yoshi whatever we want. So I can just scribble him here, and now he's just nice and blue. But as you see, it just affects the whole Yoshi. Professional mode will affect things a little bit differently. So I can just like draw a square here, and then I can just draw a little line in this area, just a straight line down below, and then I can draw maybe some legs, kind of making it look like a person, and now that reflects on our Yoshi. So that's the weird abomination Yoshi we just made. We can go ahead and flip the canvas around here with this button, and it'll allow us just to go ahead and draw on both sides, which is pretty interesting. But we can go ahead and press the undo button to fix that. You press it again and it'll add this redo, so restore that function. You have a bucket tool where you can just basically fill in the entire area with color. You have a clear button, which basically deletes all the edits you made to your Yoshi. But more importantly for us, we have ourselves a whole bunch of presets we can go ahead and pick from. So in the Wii U version, we went around and collect all these different patch beads, and in the Wii U version in particular, they unlocked Miiverse stamps. In the 3DS version, they removed the Miiverse functionality from those stamps and instead replaced them with something called patch beads. And these patch beads you can use to create your own custom Yoshi. So the patch beads have a much bigger significance here. In the 3DS version of Yoshi's Woolly World, they're actually useful nowadays. Since Miiverse is shut down, those badges on the Wii U version do absolutely nothing. But on the 3DS version, they have a pretty big purpose and allow you to choose from a lot of different pre-made skins here for your custom Yoshi, which is pretty cool if you ask me. And you can go ahead and just pick any of these custom skins here, and you can start editing these as well. So say we take this little fire effect, well, now we can go ahead and load it up into our editor, and we can go ahead and start drawing on here as well. So now we can start messing with it too. I can go ahead and change the color here by tapping the top right corner, and we have ourselves our color diagram, and we can pick whatever other colors we want here. There's a big group of these colors too. So let's see, I can go ahead and pick, say, let's go ahead and do like a dark green here. And as you see, that actually does change something on our Yoshi as well. So you can click on very specific areas, click into the color area, pick a new color, and that'll change the look of your Yoshi. When you're done, go ahead and just hit the save icon on the bottom right. You go ahead and change all the information about your Yoshi, but I'm just going to leave it blank. And before we go, we want to go ahead and just look at one more thing here with the custom Yoshi. So let's go ahead and take the one here next to our new creative friend. And let's go ahead and go into professional mode this time around. So in professional mode, you cannot use those pre-made patch stamps that we've been unlocking, but we can edit every single individual part of our Yoshi. So now we can just take the nose of our Yoshi, let's color it in like a little bit of an orangey red. Then we can go for his cheeks, we can make his cheeks like a nice bright yellow. And then we can just take the back spines here, and if we go ahead and use the circle pad, turn around, we can go ahead and see behind here, and now we made a nice green. Go ahead and take the body now, change our color to say red, and let's just go ahead and draw here. So we're drawing on these arms, and as you can see, we just made some interesting patterns here in the arms, and you can do this for basically every single body part. You can do things individually and just do things all at once. It's a nice little creating tool if you want to be honest. This is a really nice replacement for the Miiverse stuff in the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World, because again, Miiverse is dead. So we can't really do anything with Miiverse nowadays. So for these badges to still have a significance in the 3DS version is a major deal. And as you see, we have a couple different slots for our Yoshis. The more Yoshis you make, the more you can start creating new ones as well. So that's pretty good. In total here, you can make up to 10 custom Yoshis, but you can also go ahead and distribute these using Street Pass. So if you have Street Pass turned on your 3DS, you can go ahead and Street Pass your custom Yoshis to other players. And they can go ahead and not only receive your designs, you can receive new Yoshi designs as well. So this is a nice way to get a whole bunch of custom Yoshis into your game. I personally don't use this feature all too much nowadays, but it is a nice thing to see. And just being able to create your own custom Yoshi is really cool. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to show here in the 3DS version of Yoshi's Woolly World. One last thing I can mention here is that the amiibo support for the 3DS version of Yoshi's Woolly World is much bigger than the Wii U version of the game, so there are more amiibos you can go ahead and scan into this version of the game and get more amiibo Yoshis. So if you want to go ahead and see a full list of the amiibos that work with both versions of Yoshi's Woolly World, down in the description below there will be a link to a website listing all the different amiibos that work with both the Wii U and 3DS version of Yoshi's Woolly World. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end things here. Thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next bonus episode where we take a look at a couple things related to the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World. I'll see you guys next time.